Welcome to Resilient AF Midlife Mamas. I'm Toby and I am the queen of to-do lists. So I have them on paper, I have them digitally, I have them in my head. Like I am lists everywhere, but they're not functional for planning. A to-do list is really just a list. It's like the foundation of planning. So this episode is in the series of executive functioning, and it's about the puzzle pieces for planning, because planning is so much more than just creating a to-do list. It involves strategy, problem solving, time management, time estimation, sequencing, and prioritization. Like there's a lot of cognitive stuff that goes into planning, whether it's planning a big project, planning a party, planning for assignments. So last episode, we talked about, in the last blog post and all the things, we talked about organization, and we touched on planners, and planners are awesome if you use them. So a lot of times kids will get planners at the beginning of the year, and they may use them for the first week or so of school. And then they end up either in their locker or like way down the bottom of the backpack. And they don't use them. They aren't set up with how to use them. And even if they are using them to put the assignments in, a lot of times they're getting home and they're not checking them. So, the classic, like, hey, do you have any homework? No. But if they look in their planner, if they actually wrote in their planner, they might see that there's a couple assignments that are due. So any tool that you or your student use will be the right tool. It's the use that's the key word there. So, and the other problem with academic planners is they often don't take into account things like appointments, extracurriculars, meetings, family responsibilities. They're one piece of the puzzle. And the puzzle involves all of those things, right? So here are 4 more puzzle pieces that are just boss for planning that will really help with bringing in all of these executive functions to create a better scenario for the plan. So my first thing is timers. I think timers are magical. I am a believer in time blocking. So you set a chunk of time that you're going to get work done, and you're going to focus on that one thing, the one thing. So you set the timer. Let's say you set it for 20 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever you think. So part of the timer is estimating how much time it's going to take you to complete a task, right? So if I'm going to sit down and, let's say, write my blog, I've decided maybe I need about 45, 50 minutes to do that. So I set the timer. Now, when that timer goes off, I'm done. I get up, I walk away. There's no snooze button on the timer. So then it's important to set a timer for the break. And setting a timer and walking away, getting up, stretching, getting a drink, using the restroom, whatever you need to do to really break and clear your mind. And when that timer goes off, then it's back to work. And then you set the next timer. And depending on what you're working on, you may set another 20 minutes to finish what you haven't completed on that blog, or you may have to prioritize and work on another chunk of something. So timers can be really, really magical. So I think what's important in terms of assessing time is keeping a little chart and creating some tracking for how long does it actually take you to complete different tasks. And this is really helpful data, particularly for teachers that you're working with, to know how long does it really take to complete the assignments that are going home. And for some students, if it's taking them such a long time to complete, let's say 5 problems, maybe they only need to master 1 or 2 problems in order to show you that they have mastery of the skill that's being taught. And it condenses the amount of frustration for that student. So it's important to keep track and to know how much time. And that way, when you're planning, you have a real estimate of how much time you need to do things. Okay, here's a big one: keeping track of the rabbit holes. Set a timer when you drop into social media, which is the biggest rabbit hole. And don't let yourself get sucked in. So set a timer. I'm going to take 10 minutes right now. I'm going to check into Facebook. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then when the timer goes off, I'm out of there. So those rabbit holes can be a real problem. Okay, alarms. Alarms are also really cool. I set alarms to reflect, I name them to reflect what it is I need to do when the alarm goes off. So if I have an alarm that's called feed dog, when that goes off, I feed the dog. So your student can have an alarm that says, check planner for homework. And that goes off after school. So you can set alarms throughout the day for various things that are named for that. So it's not like, oh, the alarm goes off and I don't know, I'm just going to turn it off. I don't know what it's for. Like, you have to look at it. You see, this is what I'm supposed to do right now. So it's kind of like keeping a schedule, but it's on the using the phone as a tool. So schedules. I am a lover of Google Calendar. I think Google Calendar is probably one of my favorite tools. So in our family, we each have a color that is coded to us. I have a different color for each of my businesses or projects. I mean, it can really be broken down in so many ways. And that way, there's clarity about what is happening in the household, so that when a kid has a planner, and then they can look at their Google Calendar for the week, and they can look at what is on the calendar for the entire week, what the family obligations are, what their appointments and things are, and they can schedule that into their daily routine. It helps them to calculate and plan ahead for when they're going to get assignments completed, or, schedule to see friends, whatever it is, play video games. Okay. And it's also helpful to print the weekly calendar. So this is like my Sunday night thing. I do the homeschool setup for my child. I do my setup for the week. I time block for the week for what I need to do. And I look at the calendar, everybody's calendar, and get all clear on that. And then you can print that out in color with all the different colors, which is really kind of cool. And then you can put that in a central place so that everybody in the family can see exactly what is happening for the week. Okay, project chunking. Project chunking. I don't know why that's so hard to say. Okay, so what this is basically, and you can use this for big school assignments, big school projects, or, anything that's going on, if it's like a project around the house. So you start at the due date. Having a due date is really, really important. So you start with a due date, even if it's one you're making up, if it's not like an assignment from school, and you work backwards and you chunk the pieces of the assignment so that it's manageable. And whether you're using Post-its or a planner or a digital format, you break it up and you put it on the calendar. So some kids have an assignment for a big project and it's not due till next month. And they know they have this project that's due next month. But in their assignment book, in their planner, it's got whatever assignments from day to day, but it may not have pieces of that project posted in there. And that's when we get into trouble, when we all of a sudden, it's like days before the project is due and they haven't begun. So it's really important to take that project and starting from the day it's assigned, starting to chip away at it with bite-sized pieces that are really manageable. And also building in a little bit of wiggle room. So the consistent use of these tools with a planner, golden for planning. It's like some really good skills that can be learned while using these tools. So if digital planning is your thing, I have a Trello course that you can check out, which includes video tutorials and templates that are for the boards that I've created that we use in our family for homeschooling, for school, for all the family things. One that I call my brain, which is like my central station. So it's my like digital to-do list, brain dump, but then it's how I sort it out for the week so that things actually happen. And you can use it for recipes, for meal planning, all the things. So there's also a Facebook group for support and future trainings and the accessibility of one-on-one coaching to help personalize your system. So if digital planning is your thing, that's definitely my jam. I love that. So that is it for planning. I hope that was helpful. Make it a great week. Bye-bye.